Divorces with no children, no problem. You can dissolve your marital relationship and go on your unmarried way. Divorces with children, that's a different story, and you really will have a lifelong relationship with your ex in the co-parenting capacity.
You're stuck.
You're stuck. And it's challenging. It does tend to get better with practice and time. And today we're going to share with you some tips as you begin to navigate this somewhat at times challenging and not always easy
Co-parenting phase.
So I'm Jaclyn Robertson, joined by Marie Carmel. We're with JR Law Group, and welcome to Family Law Friday. Marie, what would be one of your number one tips that you would share with?
Well, we see this a lot, and I know we've all heard it, but we've heard don't put kids in the middle. But really, our number one tip is don't put kids in the middle.
No, like really. Don't put kids, even on a subconscious level.
Yeah. Kids are kids. Like it or not, you and your ex are the two people on this planet who are going to love them the most. And they have absolutely every right to be allowed to love both of you equally.
They're biologically programmed to love you both equally.
Yes.
No matter what either of you say.
Really. And our relationship with our ex has no bearing on the children's relationships with our ex. And so we should never use them as pawns. We don't use them as messengers. We don't use them as therapy sessions to vent our frustrations of our ex. They should really be shielded as much as possible from the drama around the divorce and encouraged and allowed to love and continue the relationship with both parents as much as possible.
Yes.
In a situation where they feel safe and supported.
Flow between the two homes and let them not experience the great inquisition every time they come from the other home.
Yeah.
On another point, another tip would be, as far as schedules go, be open and flexible with the co-parenting schedule. So first of all, you're going to have generally a set calendar, and children like dependency, and they're going to go between the two homes, and you're going to follow a schedule. However, life is going to happen, events come up, and we actually have clients that will say, well, they wanted to make a change, is that okay? And actually, we always encourage parties, co-parents, to be flexible.
Work together.
Have a calendar. Now, that doesn't mean you forfeit your parent time. You actually can exchange the parent time so that you're, given the opportunity to make up that missed parenting time. And the bottom line is they're going to need to make changes from time to time, and you're going to need to make changes from time to time. And so, of course, you in general don't want to be wishy-washy changing the calendar all the time. In fact, speaking of calendars, there's apps.
There's a lot of apps. Look on your phones. There's paid. But if you have issues communicating around schedule, if that's just kind of a hard situation, an app is a good idea because you can put it all on the schedule. No one's wondering, is this my weekend? Is this your weekend? It's all there. And it's laid out.
Keeps it clear and kind of takes away the need to communicate too much.
Yeah.
But, be flexible. It's only going to help your case. Your ability to co-parent and be flexible with each other is one of the factors that kind of goes into this being a good, even 50-50 or close to 50-50 custodial arrangement.
Yeah. Which I think leads us to our next point with being flexible is to always put the kids and their needs first.
Yes. So for another tip would be to put the kids first and what's best for them. And you may have heard best interests of children even during your divorce process, because that is what the court focuses on. That's the primary focus of the court above all else, is what is going to ultimately be in the best interests of the children. Anything your attorney has advocated on your behalf relating to the children would be with the focus of demonstrating that what you sought was and is in the best interest of your children. Well, that doesn't end at divorce. There's an ongoing idea that the better you can co-parent, the better you can just focus on what's best for the kids, the smoother it will go. And so what that means is that, let them go between the homes freely. This kind of feeds into all of our points, but the gist is, for example, is, they're going to want you to both come to their extracurricular activities depending on the age of your children. But just the bottom line is, when you can think of your kids' needs and what would make them happy, best example would be...
Put aside your emotions and our hurt frustrations, put the kids first.
With the co-parent, attend the sport activities together. You don't need to communicate. If you do and it can go smooth, that's great for them.
Yep.
And what other tips, Marie?
So I know a big one for me, I'm divorced, and it's been 5 years now, so I had to actually work on this one a lot, but is to let go of trying to control the other parent and how they parent. For me, that was a big one. So, you know, when my kids are at their dad's house, that's his time and he parents as he sees fit. And I need to let go of trying to control that situation. We will throw in, like, obviously if there's abuse or neglect or some really serious things going on, that's one thing, but in general there isn't. And I need to respect my ex-spouse enough to let him run his household as he sees fit and not undermine his rules and not make the kids feel like, oh, I'll fix that when you come back to mom's house, don't worry. Like, it is, sometimes we parent differently. If we can communicate and you know, come up with similar rules, that's great, so the households are similar, but that doesn't always work. And so really, like, letting go of that control. It's his time, it's my time. It is what it is.
You're both going to do things your own way. They're not going to be identical.
It's not good or bad.
Try to get on the same page to the extent you can with discipline and bedtimes. But again, that doesn't always work out, and it's okay. And they can have consistency at your home and consistency there. Even if it's different, that ends up being consistency. They learn what to expect at moms and what to expect at dads.
Yeah.
And finally, we were talking about how this is an ongoing permanent relationship, and we kind of liken it to, it's kind of like, it's no longer a marriage. It's no longer that familial, intimate, romantic relationship. It's like a business relationship. So in terms of the challenges that come up and the conflict that can arise, we encourage you to look at it like a business relationship. You know, kind of like our coworkers, there's going to be difficult issues that come up that you need to communicate with. You don't just call them screaming. You don't boss them around.
We hope.
Yeah, and if you do, it's usually not effective. So if you start to think of it like that, when you're both the CEOs of your children's lives and you're trying to help raise them together, you kind of think of a way to communicate in a respectful, polite, straightforward manner. And the other challenge is, even if they don't approach you in that way, if you can still, again, how you would in a work situation, if you're being attacked, how would you do it? You can step back for a moment for space, but you can also just try to communicate in a way that's going to diffuse. And again, this takes practice.
Yep.
But the
bottom line, be respectful.
Yep.
And try to have that go both ways.
Yep. It's only going to make life easier for you, them, and ultimately the children. So those are just a few things to think about. We wish you all the best in your co-parenting efforts, understanding it's a challenge, it takes practice, and over time it does get better. Thank you for joining us. If you'd ever like to speak to us about your specific case, go to our website at jrlawgroup.com or give us a call, and always follow us on Instagram, JR Law Group.